how to make anything look like a bubble. Are you ready? All right, so hang in there. I'm going to go in this. This is important. Because once you see what I'm going to show you, you maybe cannot be so worried. The S&P 500 going back to 1928 is at 17.57. And you can see right here, it's at 46.05. Looks pretty steady. Had a big drop in the Great Depression. Then just, has ups and downs, but basically a line just kind of goes like that. It looks pretty steady. A big run up in the late 90s, a big fall in the 2001 and 2. Big run up until 2007, big fall in 2009. And then 2009 went right back to the steady progression. So pretty linear right there, right? I mean, nothing dramatic about that. But if you didn't do it as a log scale, oh my goodness, what a bubble. Look at that. 797 to 4,700 or whatever it is up here, 4766, that's a bubble. It's got to pop. Oh, not a bubble. It just hit normal rates of return. That looks normal. Looks like pretty normal, pretty consistent. A little bit of high, a little bit of low, a little bit of high, a little bit of low. Bubble! Bubble! Oh, nice and normal. So let me show you the difference here. 10 to 100 is 10 times. 100 to 1,000 is 10 times. 1,000 to 10,000 is 10 times. That's log scale. The percentages are what matter. If we do it without the log scale, 500 to 1,000 is 100%. 1,000 to 1,500, see the same scale. I don't know, we'll just say that's an inch. 500 to 1,000 is 100% for an inch. A next inch is 50%. The next inch is 33%. The next inch is 25%, and so on and so on. That's not the same scale. So to move from 500 to 1,000 is the same as moving from 1,000 to 2,000, which is the same as moving from 2,000 to 4,000. Look at the difference. So from 500 to 1,000 is this 1 inch. From 2,000 to 4,000, though, and this scale is 1, 2, 3, 4 inches, even though they're exact same percentages in growth. And that's why the log scale is so important, because it's scaling it correctly relative to percentages. I cannot stress this enough. 500 to 1,000 is 100%. That is 1 inch. So you move 1 inch per 100%. But in this case, we're not. For another 100%, we're just 2,000 to 4,000. That should just be 1 inch. So 2,000 to 4,000 should be right there. But it's not. 2,000 to 4,000 is way up here. The scaling is so wrong. So what I want to show you here is my man Mish. I don't know this guy's first name, but this is back in February 2022. And he's a smart guy. And I agree with most of the stuff he says, but I can't believe how he misses this. I don't understand it. And I get it. I just can't believe he missed it. It's pretty simple to me, but look, I'm sure there's stuff I miss all the time. Home price growth accelerates. The annual surge is the most on record. The Case-Shiller national home price increase in 2021 is the most on record dating into 1987. The first thing we got to find out is what is the home price increase, and the Case-Shiller national index went up 18.84%. The Case-Shiller 10 City went up 16.9%, all right, or 17% basically. All right, so we're using it as percentages, right? And again, going back to this, not percentages, not scaled. Percentages, scaled, all right? So we're going to use this as percentages. But then we're going to show this graph right here, Case-Shiller Home Price Index, and then we're going to say index level 100 in 1987, and we're going to show this bubble. He says, not a bubble, not inflation? Because he's saying from right here to right there, so obviously a bubble. From 2009 to today is obviously a bubble. But we're using percentages. Home price accelerates the most on record, the percentages, but we're showing it on a graph to show it as a bubble on a graph that's not logged. Yeah, I don't understand. You're using two completely, so 100 to 200. So again, to say that's an inch, that's 100%. 200, the next one right here should be 400. The next one right here should be 800. But 800 is way up here because the scaling is off. Again, I know this is, I'm not explaining it very well. I was trying to explain it to one of my sons today. I think he got it. 100 to 200 is a 100% increase. 200 to 400 is a 100% increase. 400 to 800 is a 100% increase. So the scale is completely skewed in this chart, which makes it look like a bubble. Again, makes it look like a bubble. But in terms of log, we're using the same percentages, 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10. It doesn't look like a bubble, does it? It looks like a bubble. Doesn't look like a bubble. The exact same numbers. All right. So again, he's using the percentage increase to say that we're basically implying that we're in a bubble because look at this chart. And on top of that, the Case-Shiller Home Index went up the most in percentage in history that we've since recorded data. And we can argue about recording. I don't care. I'm just saying, just because this looks like a bubble doesn't mean it's so when you're not using scaling. So let me show you what I'm talking about. The Fed, the exact same thing, the Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index. So as I showed you guys a number of times, right here, we're at, what was that, 63. All right, then we go to right here, we're at 184. So that's what, a doubling, a tripling, I should say. And then it fell down to here, and now we're up here. So we went down to 134, and now we're at 278. So basically, it's doubled in essentially 10 years' time. That's not a bubble. But anyway, but this isn't even to scale. This is just what that guy Mish is using. They're using this right here. So he's literally from the Fed. So he's using this from the Fed from going back to 1988, and we're saying, look, these are bubbles. I mean, because he's saying it, not a bubble, huh? Not inflation. But let's look at it and draw it to scale. It's not scale. 40 to 80, 1 inch. 80, the next one should be 120. I mean, 180, 160. Because if we scale it, 40 to 80 is the same as 80 to 160, which is the same as 80 to 320, but they're not doing that. So let's do that now. And I'm just going to show you. This is how you create a bubble out of anything. Doesn't quite look like a bubble, does it? In fact, if anything, that looks like a bubble, 1996 to right there. And it was a bubble. But look at that. From a scale perspective, I mean, you can even say right here, from 1990, basically right there, 1993 to 2006 and 7 was a bubble. Certainly more so than this right here. But I mean, right here, we're basically, where were we here? From 2022, we're only up 7.32% a year going back to 2012 after we were at the bottomed out from where we were in 2007. I mean, just come on. So if you look at a grand scale, again, you draw the line. You say, kind of like this. Too high there. A little bit high here. I mean, we're still, a little bit low here. I don't know. I wish I could do this. How do I do this with I'm not sure how to do that. I wish I had a drawing chart. But anyway, so if you just kind of draw it kind of like this, you say kind of like, yep, we were there, too high, right there. We're still too low, too low, too low. Not quite perfect, but pretty close. And of course, without as many homes available, that's why. But anyways, but that's not a bubble. But you can make a bubble out of anything. That's what I'm trying to say. Not a bubble. Bubble. That's a bubble. Not a bubble. I just can't stress this enough. So we go back here. We say, not a bubble. Just nice growth to recoup from the losses we had in 2007 to 2012. And I mean, that's the bubble right there. Oh, by the way, interest rates are at 7% back then. I just want to point that out. Then we make this, we unlog it, and we say, oops. And this is what he's saying right here. That's a bubble. Look at that. Look at that. That's a bubble. That doesn't look nearly as bad on this side, does it? It doesn't look nearly as bubblish from 1992 to 2007. But that's a bubble. Look at that. Anyway, I hope that helps to alleviate some of your concerns. If the real estate market's a big bubble and about to crash, then hell's bells, the stock market is a 10 times worse one. All right, love your thoughts. We'll see you.